whether it's like you're changing jobs or, you faced a very difficult situation with cancer. How do you approach times you're fearful and move past those?
Like any human, right? Barely and clumsily and, with much angst and feeling sorry for myself. It's funny because with the cancer, I didn't really feel like I had a choice. People would be like, you're so brave. And I'm like, well, it's either chemo or die. I'm pretty just clear that I'm going to try the chemo, and I say it sort of flippantly, but that is actually, I really didn't feel like I had much of a choice. I felt like kind of betrayed, like what the hell? But I also was, fierce about like dying wasn't an option. So I got to figure this out. Right. Yeah. When it comes to things that are less like that was really finite, but, changing jobs, I'm actually getting ready to launch a program and, part of me is terrified. I'm like, what am I doing? Why would I do this? Let's just keep doing what I'm doing. And so what I practice, and again, I don't have this all figured out by any stretch of the imagination, but what I practice is staying really clear on what's available if my vision is fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's not about my vision being fulfilled so that then I have this many dollars or I have this much flexibility in my time. I see that this many people will be impacted and they all lead companies. And that means that many more people will be impacted. Mm-hmm. And it can create something better. Like it can be a contribution. And so really remembering that that's what I'm playing for. I also am a healthy realist. Like, well, if the worst happens, I am reliable to go tend bar and, build my life again. It isn't actually to that degree. Like for a long time, that's what it was. Like, okay, worst case scenario, I will go tend bar for 2 weekends a month. And, I've evolved a little bit past that, although not hugely so. Like I am unfailing in my belief that I will land on my feet. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't necessarily look like I think it was gonna. Mm-hmm. And I believe that like part of why we're on this earth is to keep expanding. Like, and we see it in nature. Like I keep looking out here at this beautiful view of the forest and, nothing in nature is stagnant. It's either, expanding, blooming, growing, blossoming, or it's deteriorating, decaying. And I do believe that we all have to go in and decay a little bit now and then, like whether it's feeling sorry for ourselves or running into a few stumbling blocks or creating breakdown in our lives, whether it's because we blow up our marriage or blow up our job or, I'm not saying do that, but we do. And we realize in hindsight, like, oh, that was really, I made that mess. Mm-hmm. And we're so quick to like smack ourselves around for making messes. And so I think if the one tip I would have is really having a healthy practice around forgiveness of self. Because we spend so much energy beating ourselves up as if that's going to do any damn good. Mm-hmm. And it mostly doesn't. Yeah. It mostly just is a big waste of energy. So the sooner you can allow, like, yep, I made that mistake, or I chose badly, or I was careless, or whatever it is, and it's a brand new day. Yeah. And I forgive myself. Because the more you're able to forgive yourself, the more you're able to have space and forgiveness for all the other humans on the planet who are frankly doing the best they can.
Right. So you have a very positive and abundant way that you're looking at life and the future. Is that something that has just been like, has always that been with you, or is that something you've developed over the years?
I had a lot of trauma in childhood, mm-hmm. and I saw a lot of the grown-ups that were pretty miserable, and frankly taking some of their misery out on me, and I didn't appreciate that very much. Yeah. And so there was, I think really early, I was like, this shall be, I will not, I will not take my crap out on other people. I will not, like, I basically pretty early got, there has to be a better way. And if there's not, there's no there's no hurt in trying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I definitely can get, you know, I definitely have a keen ability to see darkness. Like I really get, like, humans suck sometimes. Like we are terrible to each other sometimes. And,
Right.
you know, like I get, like, the worst of humanity is always, there's a movie, what is it called? It's with Diane Keaton and Queen Latifah and Katie. God, what the heck is it? It's like Big Money or something. Somebody can look it up based on those names. Yeah. But it opens with Diane Keaton saying, you know, every human has the ability to do bad things. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And I get that we as a community have a responsibility to create environments where bad things aren't invited. Like, you know, and I actually, that's part of why I like to play inside of business, because mm-hmm. I have it that businesses, it's in their best interest to create environments where people are coming from better selves, right? Like I know that there are businesses that are like cutthroat and competitive, but I would like to believe we're moving away from that because it isn't working as well as it used to. Mm-hmm. Maybe not, but you know, again, if I'm going to be on Fantasy Island, I'm going to stay there. You know, it's like it doesn't hurt anybody, and so I guess my point is, it is an active choice. Okay. It's an active choice to believe the best, see the best. And that doesn't mean I'm Pollyanna. I read the news. I let my heart be broken. Mm-hmm. I cry. And then I'm like, okay. And I can influence my little piece on the planet, and I'm going to go out and do that again.
Yeah.
So
that's
I have no idea if that answered your question.
No, that definitely did. Thank you. So with everything that you've done, what has been the best advice you've ever received?
That question.
Mm-hmm.
Control is a myth. Like I think, and what I made up from that is that, like, it's a human paradox. We're constantly trying to create more control, right? We have schedules in our phones and we have calendars. Like literally, I have 3 calendars if you include my phone one right now in my space, right? Like we're always, and yet you and I are on this call at this agreed upon time, mm-hmm. somewhat by the grace of God, because by the grace of the universe, like so many things could have gotten in the way of that. Like, mm-hmm. like we simultaneously never have as much control as we think, and we're always trying to get more control.
Yeah.
So just keeping an awareness like this, and actually this advice came when I had cancer, and I honestly, like, I lived alone. I was single, and the doctor was like, so, you know, you're going to need to do this and do this and do this. And I'm literally thinking, like, when am I going to work and earn the money to pay the bills? You know, like, how is that supposed to work? You know,
yeah.
Like, you're going to need someone to take you here and there. And I'm like, who's that supposed to be? Right. And so, I think that, and then I think the second piece is choose trust. Mm-hmm. Like we have a lot of people who are like, you have to earn trust, like choose trust, choose to trust. And there's benefits, there's benefits to choosing trust. So that was the second piece that really stuck with me.
Sure. Well, Alyse, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate your time. If the listeners want to get a hold of you and read more about what you're working on, what's the best place they can do that?
They can reach out to me via email is probably the easiest, I guess. So that's my name, Alyse at and the number 2 coaching group. There are 2 G's.com. And or you can just go to the website, which is also A2 coaching group, A squared, but A2 is it's a number, so that confuses people.
Sure.
And I love, like, these conversations are like totally what light me up on the planet. So I would love to hear if something struck with someone, or if somebody like vehemently disagrees. I want to know, or if somebody's like, yes, this was awesome. Like, I would love to hear from your listeners. So I would be very open to hearing.
Wonderful. Well, I'll also put those in the show notes so they can click through and hopefully have that conversation with you.
Well, Yuri, thank you. It's been such a pleasure and a privilege to meet you and connect with you. And thanks for the work you're doing. It's awesome. I love the influence. I've listened. You know, when I love listening. I've enjoyed listening to your work.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Well, have a good evening.
You too. Take care.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Advance Your Art podcast. If you like this episode, please go into iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so that every single time I release a new episode, it will go directly to you without even thinking about it. If you're interested in hearing older episodes, please go to advanceyourart.com where you can find the catalog of everything I've done so far, as well as contact information and projects I'm working on. Thank you again, and have a great day.